Now who wanna move crossing on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em, single bottle, never stop it. To the beast and know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossing on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world.
What's up everybody? This is Ted Karras for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cincy Hat, and you're watching Bengals and Brews.
Yes, sir. Welcome to Bengals and Brews, as our buddy Ted there said. I'm Dale, joined by the BSG and our other co-host, Dustin Croft. We also have a special guest. He is the former offensive coordinator of the Jaguars, former offensive coordinator of the Bengals. So, I mean, what better guest to have when you got Bengals versus Jaguars this week? But he was also the former head coach of the Washington Commanders. You got to say Commanders now. I was told that. But this is Jay Gruden. What's up, buddy? I can't hear you, Coach.
We can't hear you, bud.
You want to pop out and come back real quick?
Hey, live television, folks.
Yeah, you just never know. I don't know what's going on there with the audio. He was muting and unmuting, but even when he was unmuted, it was still the audio wasn't coming through. But you got that, and that was an appearance by Jay Gruden, brought to you by Midwest Best Barbecue, Chop Shop 513. We'll see if he comes back, but hey, technically he was there.
Proud sponsor of the show. And speaking of Midwest Best, their buffalo chicken dip is awesome, by the way.
Yeah. You did it.
All
you
right.
tried it.
Oh, it's awesome.
Let's try this again. All right. Cannot hear you now still.
I wonder if he's try it.
See the mouth moving, but
Try the
no audio
headphones.
is coming through. Yeah, if there is headphones, sometimes that'll work with headphones plugged in. We usually have had no issues with Coach and his audio when he's come on before. But yeah, a couple Bengals news while Coach is still working on his audio over there. We'll give him a minute, let him pop back in. But the Bengals signed Mike Pennell, which we kind of expected that. Lucas Patrick going on injury reserve. Pennell's up officially to the 53. Couple practice squad moves with Isaiah Foskey, former Notre Dame, former second-round pick, coming back, coming into the Bengals. Miles Cole, another 6'6", 280-pound defensive end. So big body defensive ends added to the practice squad. They did let go of Isaiah Thomas. They had their limit of Isaiahs, but now they lost an Isaiah because Isaiah Williams was claimed by the Jets, signed to their 53. So now we have another practice squad spot available. So we'll see if there's another Isaiah out there to fill it because it seems to be the theme. Yeah. Any thoughts on those moves, guys?
The Bengal, the Al Gold makes it clear. He likes the big, tall guys that can move, that can rush. Isaiah Foskey, Dale, I think I remember you talked about him a little bit. I mean, 11 sacks his junior year and 11 sacks his senior at Notre Dame with Al Golden, and he's going to be on the practice squad. This could be a steal. Hey, look what happened to Zach Baum when he left the Saints. Look what happened to him. Are we seeing a repeat right here, Dale?
Yeah. I mean, you never know. I think it's worth the shot, right? It's a guy's second-round pedigree, a guy that Al Golden coached for a year at Notre Dame. So why not take that shot, get him in here, see what he has? And it's on the practice squad right now. If he performs well, maybe he gets a call up and see what he can do, or injuries do occur in the NFL quite often. So as we saw with Lucas Patrick going on injury reserve. Dalton Reisner, I thought he looked really good. I don't even care about the grades. I rewatched that second half because I said I'd only got through the first half. I didn't see any issues. Now, there was that one play where Mason Graham bull rushed him. That was bad, but let's try to get Coach in here again.
Got a new computer. Did that work?
Here we
Yeah,
go.
Coach, there he is.
How you doing, buddy?
Sorry about that.
No.
No.
How we doing today, Jay?
I'm doing good. Play a little golf, Watch a little tape. Watch your Bengals play on offense and a little bit of defense. And, now here I am.
Oh, okay. You'd rather would take an ugly win than a good loss, right?
There's no doubt about it. You play Cleveland, it's always a rivalry game. People think Cleveland's this, Cleveland's that, but still, when you go to Cleveland, you win on the road in the AFC North. I mean, it's a good win. I don't care how they get it done. Just 1-0 is all we were looking for. and that's what they got. Now they got some things to clean up on offense. That's for sure. They're too good. They're too good personnel wise on offense to look that shitty in the second half.
Yeah, negative yards in the second half is just awful. Dustin's never been on with Coach here, so I know he's got a few questions for you he wants to get, so I'll let him get right into one right away for you.
Yeah, Coach, I just, huge fan of your career. Love just, watching you call ball and just the intensity that you did with. So thanks for joining us today. Nice to meet you. So speaking of the Bengals, obviously we've always traditionally had a slow start problem here at Cincinnati. We eked out the victory on Sunday. It didn't look pretty, but we got it done. However, I think it's pretty clear to everybody that, Burrow has had his struggles early on in seasons. If you go over his numbers the last, 4 years, it looks pretty similar. Now, obviously, you can factor in some injuries and whatnot. Just kind of wondering from your perspective, what traditionally happens with, quarterbacks that tend to start slow? And then conversely, on the other end, you'll see quarterbacks kind of light the world on fire early in the season. And then next thing you know, by week 11, they're sitting on the bench. So just kind of wondering what your perspective on that is. And, in your coaching career, if you kind of experience both sides of that as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors involved. Depends on who you play on the road, at home. The guys around you got to play good. I don't understand. In years past, Joe's been kind of hurt in training camp. He's missed a lot of time in training camp. I can attest. I can attribute that a little bit to their slow starts. This year, offensively, they didn't really do a whole lot offensively. They were very stagnant in their formations. They only had a couple run concepts going. They're on an inside zone, basically. They only had a couple, the out and the go route on the outside, and they're very simple and basic on offense. I don't know if it was because Myles Garrett was out there, or Denzel Ward, or whatever it might be. They were very simple and basic in their approach in this game from a play calling standpoint. So I think a lot had to do on the play calling. There wasn't a lot Joe could do. And then in the second half, he had some pressure with Myles Garrett and got stuck at some long yardages. And I don't know. Joe should be a lot better with the personnel around him, with Chase Brown and obviously Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and the guys that they have. They should be able to score 28 to 30 points no matter who they play, when they play it. And they only had the ball 3 times in the first half. They had 2 touchdowns in the first half. It was a very slow, quick clock moving first half.
Right.
And then the third downs they didn't convert in the second half were a big part of it. But yeah, you can't put your finger on it, but it happens. It happens a lot to Cincinnati. I don't know why. Play calling, third down conversions on the road, whatever it might be. There's a lot of factors. You just can't put your finger on one.
And then on the flip side, how did you think the Bengals defense looked? Or do you just, when you're grinding that tape, are you like, I don't even care about the defense. I'm just going to watch the offensive guys here.
Well, that's supposed to be their, coming into the season, I thought they were going to win every game 35-33. Their defense played good. They're opportunistic. They got the big interception there at the end. They didn't give up big plays, which is huge. I think if they could play bend but don't break, that's very important for their defense. The problem is Cleveland held the ball for a long time and ate up the clock, which kept Joe Burrow on the sideline. And then on the flip side, Joe was 3 and out in the second half, which gave the ball back. So it kind of worked hand in hand. But I was impressed with their defense. I think they played hard. They played fast and did a lot of good things. They were sure tacklers. They didn't miss a lot of tackles, which is huge.
Yeah, Coach. So Cleveland's kicker, missed extra point, missed 20-yard field goal. Let me ask you this: you as a coach, if you're the coach of the Browns, do you cut him, or is that just too soon?
Well, they didn't. They said he's back. So for their sake, I know. I
know this. On Monday morning, I'd have about 6 kickers working out at the facility. That's for sure. I may not cut them right away, but I'm gonna have a short list of kickers that I'm gonna go to. I'll probably give him another go round because he probably did some good things in training camp to earn the job. But you can't miss those 2 type of kicks at home in that environment against the Cincinnati Bengals. It just can't happen. So I think he'll get his leash is going to be about that long. One more miss, one more screw up, and I think they'll have the backup ready to go.
I agree. Go ahead, Dustin. Fire off another one.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, one thing that's always interests me about just the coaching profession is how fast, us 3 were chatting before you hopped on. It's just how fast the week turns over into a new week. What goes into just, I guess, game planning for the week? What does that kind of look like? And how much do you got to rely upon staff to give you scouting reports? How much time do you actually get to spend watching tape on defenses and getting prepared for that? How much off-season research even goes into that before the year?
Yeah, you're doing a lot of off-season research, especially on your division opponents. You're going to have a whole package of stuff for your division opponents. And in your first 3 or 4 games, you're going to be ready to go because you're going to have to rely on last year's, like you're playing, who do you play next week? Play the Jaguars this week. You're going to have a package of, you're going to see what blitzes they like, although I think they have a new defensive coordinator, so you probably don't have that. So you're going to really have one game and 3 preseason games to look at for the Jaguars. But for the most part, you're going to do a lot of research from years past. But yeah, it's tough. As soon as the game is over on Sunday, Monday morning, you're reviewing the game that you just played, making your corrections, finding out who's injured, the injury report on your own team. And then you're right into the game, watching a couple games, watching a game, but just really identify the blitzes, the fronts, the coverages that they like. And then you're into situations, 3rd and 2 to 5, 3rd and 6 to 8, 3rd and 9 to 12. And you're coming up to your plan, 1st down, 2nd and long, your base passes, your base runs, your nickel runs. So it's a long week, and you try to divide it up. So when the players come in on Wednesday for practice, you're probably doing base 1st, 2nd down. You're introduce a little bit of 3rd down. Thursday, you're going to do more 3rd down, introduce a little bit of red zone. And then Friday, you're going to do a lot of red zone to, shorten the field, get their legs right. And then 2-minute drill on Saturday and try to just shore up on the blitz protections and all that stuff and get ready to go.
Love it. So did you get a chance to watch any of the Jaguars game, or I'm sure you keep a little bit of an eye on him, having coached as the offensive coordinator.
I watched
there.
it all. Carolina was probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen a football team have, and that might be twofold. It might be because the Jaguars just stuffed it down their throat, but Bryce Young, I thought, took some serious strides forward last year towards the end of the year. He played a lot better after he got benched and came back in. But the first game of the year, he was absolutely atrocious, and they didn't have many people open, and protection wasn't very good. Chuba Hubbard couldn't really get going, and a couple of bad turnovers. He throws it away on 4th down in the red zone, which you just can't do. I mean, my God, a rookie quarterback, a freshman in high school knows not to do that. And then defensively, they gave up gashes to ETN up the middle. So
yeah.
Hats off to the Jaguars. They played pretty good for their first game, and the Carolina is atrocious.
Yeah, they're one of the sneaky teams, Carolina was, and it's just like, are we back with bad Bryce again?
Right. Yeah, they didn't get a lot of separation. Ted McMillan and 17, the kid from South Carolina, they don't run very
Xavier
fast.
Legette.
Yeah, Xavier. They're not really. There wasn't a lot of separation there for them. They lost Stealing, they lost their speed guy. Their tight ends weren't very good, So I don't know. I don't know where they go. I thought they were going to make a serious move too. The second year with Canales there coaching, and they took a step back. At least week 1 they did. And then Jacksonville, who you play, it'll be interesting. I think they're still trying to find out a role for Travis Hunter on offense. Brian Thomas Jr. is a superstar. ETN's running the ball like he did early in his career, which is good for them. And their offensive line played pretty damn good. So I don't know if it's a combination of Carolina's horrificness or Jacksonville getting a little bit better.
Yeah, I was going to stick with like the ETN and the running game specifically. He had 143 yards, almost 9 yards a carry, which is just insanity. They had 200 yards total. They traded Tank Bigsby to the Eagles because they have a couple young guys and Tootin and the kid out of Syracuse, LaQuint Allen, that I know a lot of people like coming out. So they've got a good stable running backs there. And then the Bengals' run defense was good against the Browns. I don't know if that's an indictment on the Browns' run game or the Bengals invested in that. Mike Pennell, the veteran who come in, I thought played well, but TJ Slayton was one of their first signings. You got Chris Jenkins. I thought they really hammered trying to stop the run. I think that's a big matchup for this game, but based on what you saw, how could you kind of see that playing out and who kind of has the edge there in your eyes in that Jacksonville run game versus the Bengals run defense specifically?
I think you're exactly right. The Bengals did invest in their run defense, and they looked pretty good against Cleveland, and that's got to carry over because Jacksonville's got to try to run it. They got to try to become a balanced offense. They don't want to put too much on Trevor's plate. Trevor is obviously high hopes for him being a top-notch quarterback. He's still not there yet. He's inaccurate. He missed a couple throws too, bad interception. They're going to rely on ETN and Tootin, the Cowboys. So, it's going to be a great matchup. I think Cincinnati will do just fine. I think the key is to stop the run and force them to throw the ball, get Trey Hendrickson rolling on the tackles, and have a field day.
Hey, so you brought up Travis Hunter. I mean, Travis Hunter, if you're a coach, do you allow him to play offense and defense? I heard they're going to have him play more defense. It'll be interesting to see if they have him line up against Chase. But Travis Hunter, is that a good idea to let him play both offense and defense?
In Florida, I don't know. When it's this hot, it's hard. It's hard to get through pregame warm-up without sweating your ass off. You know what I mean? So let alone trying to play offense and defense and stand on the sideline and learning it's going to get more and more difficult for him on offense, because offenses change on a week-to-week basis. There's new formations, there's new plays. You got to install different things to attack different styles of defenses. It's going to be a challenge for him. And then you got to watch film and study T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I mean, there's a lot to do. There's a lot on his young plate. I think in the next couple of years, he might be able to do more, or late in the season as he gets adjusted to the speed of the game and the people that he's playing with and against. But early in the season, it's going to be very difficult for him to play both offense and defense at a major role.
And their coach came out and said, just for everybody listening, that he's supposed to play more on defense this week. He played more on offense last week. I think he had 6 catches or something, but it was like 33 yards. So they're just trying to get the ball in his hands. And if they're ramping that up, maybe they're thinking it's not in the Florida Heat, it's in Cincinnati, so they can give him a little more there. But Dustin, I'll let you get another one, then I'll get a couple from the chat here for Coach.
Yeah, Coach, thanks again for your time. Obviously, Trevor's been kind of an enigma since he's been drafted. I think obviously he's went over like a lot of coaching changes, and I was watching a little bit of their preseason. I watched some of the highlights from the first game of the season, but to your point, it still looks like there's some inaccuracy issues. What have you kind of seen from him over the years that's really kind of preventing him from like hitting his ceiling?
Just inconsistent football. And, his throwing motion gets a little bit long and wound up, and he misses some easy throws, and he makes some great plays. I think the playoff game that they had where he threw 4 interceptions in the first half and I think 4 touchdowns in the second half kind of is an example of what he's like. He can be really, really good, or he can be really below average at times. And it's just, you don't know what you're going to get with them. And if you're a Cincinnati fan, let's get the crappy Trevor this week. Let's get the one that overthrows people and throws the ball to the wrong team. Let's not get the really good Trevor out of Clemson, the number 1 overall pick. But he just, he had such high hopes coming out. The bar was set really high for him being the number 1 overall pick. He just hasn't quite reached his potential. He's had different coaches. I get it. A lot of people around him have changed, and he just got to become more comfortable. Liam Cohen, hopefully, will get a lot more out of him. But Doug Peterson's a damn good football coach, and he couldn't get enough out of him, and he got fired. So, Trevor's got to step it up, man. It's on him this year to try to help his coach and help his team.
And I assume this question from Kripp is about Burrow specifically. Did you think watching the game, the Cincinnati game, that Burrow was drifting or fading away from the line after snapping in the shotgun formation, maybe just not looking comfortable in week 1, which has been a problem in the past, but usually we were kind of look to, well, he was injured. Well, he didn't play in the preseason, and we didn't have those things. But just your thoughts on that specifically with drifting or fading away too much.
I was actually disappointed in the play calling. A lot of times when you're playing against a good defense like that, you got to try to get some quick hitters. Get a quick out to chase, a hitch out there, something, a slant, to get the ball out of his hands. They were forced into some 3rd and longs, and then the pressure came up the middle, and he was drifting a little bit, trying to wait for people to get open. The problem is if you're drifting in the pocket and leaving Myles Garrett around the corner, it's going to be a tough day for you. Just not a lot of people open. There wasn't a lot of suddenness in the routes. There's one time they had Jamar on a shallow cross and he missed them. He didn't throw it to him, but for the most part,
is that the one he threw to Gesicki and Chase would have had a walk-in touchdown? Yeah,
exactly.
Chase was like,
right.
Ah!
Yeah. What a one.
Yeah.
On the left side.
I don't know. It's a combination. He's got to get a little bit more firm in the pocket. You're right, but they got to do a little bit better job to try to get some people open and get them some rhythm throws, because everything was off rhythm. Guys were getting jammed and getting off their routes, and then he was forced to move in the pocket a little bit.
And then G. Lou asked, I don't know if you've focused in at all on a left guard's play and how much. I mean, I'm sure when you were coaching, you're evaluating all your guys, but just from watching the game, Dylan Fairchild, 3rd round pick for the Bengals. Your thoughts on him as a rookie so far? I thought he was really good in preseason. I thought it was okay against a very good Cleveland defensive line, but we're excited about that pick in Cincinnati. So someone wanted to get that question in about Fairchild to you.
Yeah, I think he did all right. I think the whole line had underachieved a little bit in that game. That's a very good defensive front for Cleveland. Obviously, probably one of the top 5 in the National Football League, but not a lot of movement in the running game. Chase Brown had a couple hits in there that he got stuck through the tackle box, and not a lot of great, solid, firm protection for Joe. So when you have -2 yards in the second half, I don't think you can credit anybody with a good, solid game on offense. The offensive line had a lot to do with it. Joe missed a couple throws. The receivers didn't really get a lot of separation. The play calling wasn't very good, and the situational awareness was terrible in the second half. So they had a lot to clean up. But the good thing, like you said, 17-16 is a victory for the Bengals. They're 1-0. Instead of start out 1-4 being behind the 8 ball, let's play terrible and win. That's a good sign. That's a sign of a good football team when you can play your not very best football and still win. That's a good sign for Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I want to keep it with the offensive line, then I'll get to Greg and Dustin with another question. But Dalton Reisner having to step in like the second series for Lucas Patrick. But this is a guy who didn't go through training camp, but he hasn't done that the last couple of years, and he's played pretty good football for Minnesota. In general, how do you feel about when you can bring in a veteran like a Dalton Reisner that just go, that, hey, I got to put this guy in. He's going to go in and do his damn job and help us get a win. And now that Patrick's going to be out 4 weeks on injury reserve, I can go to this guy right away. That kind of leadership, that kind of player, that kind of person, I think, is a good testament to Dalton Reisner as well.
Yeah, it's critical to have veterans either on your roster as a backup role or guys you can go to in situations where you lose some have some injuries. So you got to have a short list of guys that, let's say we lose a couple guards in this game, a tight end, a receiver. Who are we going to go get? I want to get a veteran guy who knows the game, doesn't take a lot of learning, not a lot of learning curve there. He'll understand protections and understand the run game, how to work combination blocks. He's been there, done that, and it's very, very important. Heck, I went through my last couple of years in Cincinnati. We went through 30 different line combinations both years. So you got to have some veteran guys coming off the pine, and it's tough. We didn't have Trent Williams. He didn't come my last year there, and we ended up getting Donald Penn, a 39-year-old veteran from the Vikings in Tampa Bay, who did a pretty good job filling in. So those guys are critical for your success moving forward. I'm sure every coach has that short list of veteran guys that are on the streets right now.
Yeah, Coach. You look at the targets Joe Burrow has. Okay, you have T and Jamar. That's good enough. You have Mike Gesicki, who's pretty much like a slant tight end. But Noah Fant, who got cut by the Seahawks, he could easily be a starting tight end for 5 or 10 other teams. I mean, could you argue this is the deepest amount of weapons Joe's had in quite some time to throw it? And Chase Brown also to throw it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's why it's a head scratcher that they have -2 yards and 6 possessions in the second half. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I know Cleveland's defense is good, but that's ridiculous. But yeah, you're right. I think the tight end position is a little bit overrated. Gesicki's a good tight end, but he's not like a separator. Noah Fant's never really been he's more of a long stride seam guy. Not a lot of quick, sudden movement by those guys, but solid tight ends. You're exactly right. But the 2 receivers are, these are the number 1 receiver in the NFL and probably number 5 receiver in the NFL and a top 3 or 4 quarterback. I mean, explain that to me. So they got to get better. There's no excuse for these guys not to be better. No. Chase Brown's a hell of a back. I think we either run a little bit early in the game and late in the game, try to get Chase Brown going and, try to slow down the pass rush of the Browns. And then it kind of backfired the second half.
If we see another offensive performance like that, I think a lot of eyes are going to be on Zach Taylor, even if it's in an ugly win. Not as many if it's in a loss, but you've got to start asking some questions when you got that much offensive talent. And then Alan asked here, Coach G, when you getting back in the game?
Yeah. Nobody wants me back, man. I'm here for good. I think my days of coaching are over, not because of choice, because of nobody wants me. So, yeah, I enjoy doing what I'm doing here and working for Underdog and doing some things like that. But I really, deep down inside, I missed game day and I missed the camaraderie of some of the fellas. But that 18-hour day grind, I don't miss it, especially when I'm in the third hole, putting for birdie. I don't really miss it.
When you were golfing today and not game planning, you were like, okay, this isn't so bad.
I was thinking, man, when I was out there, I was like, man, today's Wednesday. This is a player's first day in. We got walkthrough, we got practice, then we got to watch the film, then we got to go over third down. Oh, my God, brutal. I'll be here till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, be up at 3 in the morning. Counting the Wednesdays off. This is 2 Wednesdays. We got 16 more to go. Jeez. It's a grind. But, I do miss part of it, though.
Yeah, for sure. Dustin?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of podcasts, Steve Young, talk about how defenses are just giving up grass in terms of like quarterbacks being able to take off and run. I think we saw that on full display Sunday night with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I would have liked to see in games like that, maybe Burrow take a little bit more advantage of his legs because he does have that ability. But are you kind of seeing the same thing and just maybe talk about just how much of a valuable tool it can be if a quarterback can get out and use his legs and take advantage of some of that open grass that it seems like defenses are providing quarterbacks?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, look at Jalen Hurts, what he did his first game. The running for first downs and keeping drives alive is huge. Teams want to play match coverages. They want to match underneath and play tight man-to-man here and there with a whole player, and he gets picked or whatever, and all of a sudden there's a huge running lane. all these pass rushers now, they don't think about rush integrity anymore. They care about the sacks and the money. They want the $45 million contract. They don't care about their pass rush integrity. And that's what's happening. Guys are getting upfield. They're leaving huge gashes for Hurts, and Jaden Daniels had some big hits. And obviously Josh Allen, Lamar, these guys are special players at the quarterback position. You have to have a good feel. Even Caleb had a couple touchdown rushes on scrambles. It's a key part of football now. These athletic quarterbacks are taking over the league. And as a play caller, man, it's a hell of a relief. If you call a play and they glove it and nobody's open, it's like, damn it. And then all of a sudden your quarterback runs for a first down. It's like, oh, shit, I get a new set of downs, man. That's awesome. So, to keep the drives alive, those athletic quarterbacks, it's part of football now, and defenses have to deal with it. It's one of the hardest things to deal with.
All right, since the Bengals are playing the Jaguars, I know you were offensive coordinator for the Jaguars. What was the best part of being an offensive coordinator for the Jaguars? Was it the golfing? Was it the weather? Was it the –
I never played golf when I was coordinating. Never played golf when I was coaching, hardly at all, except maybe in the offseason for a couple of weeks. In fact, at Cincinnati, I think I only played one time at the Blue Ash golf course. One time. I think it was Blue Ash somewhere in there. But I think the best part of Jacksonville, I think the fans are pretty cool, but living in the Jacksonville area by the beaches, we rented a place on the beach in Ponte Vedra, and then we ended up buying a place. I'm here right now in Jacksonville, Atlantic Beach. Love it down here. It's a beautiful place, great city, great people. We just weren't very good. It was Doug Marone's last year. It was a COVID year. It was a terrible year to coach. You couldn't even be with the players. You had to meet on Zoom. It was ridiculous. Players are in a huddle. They can talk, but I can't talk to them in a meeting room. It's ridiculous. Stupidest thing ever. But great area. And they're starving for football, and it's a big game for them.
Yeah, Coach. Shamar Stewart, he actually graded out very well. He didn't have, the thing about the coming out of college, he only had a sack and a half each year, but he just has all this talent. He's got like Myles Garrett talent, but he was still being disruptive in the backfield. I mean, even though he wasn't getting any sacks or he didn't have a tackle, is it still just as important to be disruptive in the backfield, even if you don't get a sack 100%. Or a tackle?
100%. As long as you get around the quarterback and make him uncomfortable, move his feet, that's huge. He might get off at first progression. He might not be able to see a guy that's open down the field, have to check it down or whatever. Maybe make him step up into your defensive tackle stunt game or Trey Hendrickson on an underneath move. So, getting pressure is very, very hitting the quarterback. I know sacks matter for agents and personnel guys, but disruption is also a critical part of playing football. And that's what he did at college. That's what he did Sunday. So I think he's a good signing. I don't think he's going to be a guy that gets 15 sacks a year, but he's a guy that can be very disruptive and very long and very athletic.
Well, on the flip side, the Jaguars have Trayvon Walker, also a very similar guy who didn't have the production from Georgia. Now he's been in the NFL, and he's starting to get at least 10 sacks per season. And I want to get your thoughts on the flip side of their D-line, the Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. That's going to be another tough test for Orlando Brown, who had a tough one with Myles Garrett. And then I thought Mims did okay, and Myles moves all around. But how do you kind of see that matchup specifically in this Jaguars-Bengals game, and your thoughts on a guy like Trayvon Walker? And is that a fair comparison that Stewart could maybe get to 8 or 10 sacks, not 15?
Yeah, of course he can. I think, Trayvon's been a little bit of a disappointment, though he's been pretty productive. He's more of a physical bull rush type of guy, and I think the tackles at Cincinnati will be okay against him. It's Josh that's going to be a little bit of a problem. He's got a lot more movement. He can move around. He's very good on stunts inside. He can line up a defensive end and loop inside the A gap. He's very athletic, very disruptive. So, he can be a problem batting balls down. I like Josh. But, both of them really, Josh got a pretty good contract. Their sack production, you just think it would be so much higher than it is. But they do play a disruptive role, which is very good for that defense.
Awesome. Dustin, you got another one, then I'll get a couple more from the chat. Coach, if you still have time, you got another 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, Coach, as you look at just kind of offensive football in the NFL, I think there are some trends that showing that scoring has ticked down the last 4 years. I mean, some blame the preseason, others, kind of blame quarterbacks, like their development, and maybe some of the college offenses not matching. And my personal opinion, it's like I see some really bad offensive lines. It's like you lose the tackle and your whole game plan shot. I'm just kind of wondering from your perspective what you're kind of seeing from offensive football that might be causing that. And if there's on the flip side, if there's stuff that you're optimistic about from what you're seeing in play calling and whatnot.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you look at Kansas City, they had trouble the other day. Some of the defenses are better. Offensive lines aren't very good. You mentioned that, some of them. Some of the quarterback play is very average to below average, which plays a big role. You look at the Giants against the Commanders. Commanders defense is supposed to be their weak link, and Russell Wilson, they couldn't get a yard. It was an embarrassment. They couldn't get anybody open. They couldn't protect. It looked like a high school team going against the NFL team. So there's a lot of issues. I think some teams need a little bit more time to gel with their coordinators. So much turnover too with offensive coordinators. Quarterback changes, offensive line changes, free agency, all that stuff. It's hard to put an offense out there week one and be a dominant unless you have a guy like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or even Mahomes struggle a little bit. Justin Herbert, the top quarterbacks typically, it doesn't matter when they play, they're going to play good. That's why it's such a shock that Joe Burrow didn't play very good against Cleveland, though Cleveland has a good defense. But you really can't put your finger on it. I don't blame preseason. I just think sometimes it's a conservative game plan. You're just trying to get your feet wet and get to know your guys as a play caller, and they have to adjust as the season goes on.
You would think with the Bengals not wanting to have a slow start, specifically the Bengals, that they wouldn't have had a bit more conservative game plan and getting Burrow ramped up all preseason. So it was kind of weird to think about that in hindsight. But here's a question from Ohio Game Talks. Coach G, what was your favorite Bengals team among those 3 years you coached? Man, don't ask him to pick among his favorite children. You can't do stuff like this, right?
Yeah, 13 by far. We were awesome.
he said, I like this kid the best.
I love that team, man. That's one of my favorite teams I've ever been around. You know, with Andy and AJ and Marvin Jones and Mo Sanu and Hawk and Whitworth was an unbelievable leader. Giovanni Bernard, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. We had a Clint Bowling. We had a lot of fun. Young guys playing extremely hard. Easy to coach, Eifert and Gresham. I mean, a tight end. And we were very, very good on offense. You look at the numbers. Andy had an unbelievable year and very productive against some pretty good teams and just didn't get it done in the playoffs. I still blame that last game against the frickin' Ravens on a Sunday where they had to win to get in. We got all beat up. Then we had to play at a short week Saturday. Yeah. Albeit it was a home game, but still was a short week. Our guys were beat up. And it was kind of like the game. We only had the ball like 3 possessions in the first half and never got the ball. Couldn't stop the run. So, but that team was a blast to coach. Great team to coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Good stuff, Coach. Let's whip around the NFL a little bit for this coming week's game because, Coach, I know that you're always watching ball. You love ball. Commanders, Packers, do you have a good feeling for – I know the Commanders are – you coach there. You got a lot of love for Jaden Daniels, right?
Ton. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL already. He's got unbelievable poise, unbelievable accuracy, and he can run like nobody's business. And you can have a free runner against him. He'll make you miss. And he ran a quarterback trap the other day. The puller falls down on a hole. The 3 techniques right there and end loops right, and nobody even touches him. He gets 14 yards. It's unbelievable, this kid. Special. Everybody thought he was going to have a sophomore slump. He missed a couple throws that he normally makes last week. But I like Washington a lot. I think their defense surprisingly did a very good job stopping run against the Giants, albeit it was the Giants. But the Packers are really, really good. I mean, really good. Jordan Love has a bunch of weapons to throw to it. He doesn't discriminate. He will throw it to the open guy. They have 4 receivers, 2 tight ends that can hurt you, and a running back that is top-notch ball security, run right over you, right through you, and Josh Jacobs. So it'll be a great test for Washington. I think it'll be a great game. I just wish it wasn't on a short week this early in the season so you get a little bit more, a little bit better coaching game plan from these guys. But it'll be a close game, I think. But I think probably at home, Green Bay will probably take it.
And as fans, that's exciting to have a Thursday night game with 2 teams that should be right in the mix for NFC Championship
I
aspirations.
Don't think they should start Thursday games so like week 5 or 6, but because it's such a grind. I mean, it's so hard to prepare, and you got these new players, and it's hard. But fortunately for Green Bay, they have a veteran quarterback and a veteran coach, and this is the second year for Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury is together again. So for both teams, they should be okay this early in the season. But, when teams have a brand new staff and all that stuff and throwing them on a Thursday, you're like, Jesus, it's hard. But these 2 teams will be prepared. It'll be fun to watch.
So do you care to get into a few more games?
No, not at all.
Okay. Dustin, go ahead. You had something there. And
obviously, one of our divisional opponents that we absolutely hate, Pittsburgh. I think, Aaron's getting a lot of love. I mean, they play Seattle, who has, I think, a really good defense. I think there's a little fool's gold from what I've seen in that game. He still looks like a statue, and it was a lot of dunk routes. So I just kind of wondering, if you had a chance to evaluate his game. I mean, the numbers look great, but I just kind of where you are with Aaron at this point in his career.
Yeah, Arthur did a good job. They had a pretty good game plan. They ran the ball decently, but they got him outside on the perimeter, hit a couple nakeds. Outside the pocket, guys are wide open where anybody can make a throw. Hit DK Metcalf on a flat route. He breaks 2 tackles. I mean, not a lot of difficult throws that he had to make in that game, and that's critical. Surprised how poorly the Jets defense tackled and played in that game. That was supposed to be the strength, but I was also surprised how poorly the Steelers played against the Jets. Now, the Jets' offensive line is ridiculous, by the way. I watched that tape. They're really good. They have 2 really good tackles. The rookie.
Armand Membu, what a great pick, man.
He shut down TJ Watt.
He's a big son of a gun. And then the kid from Penn State on the left side, he was moving people out of the building. I mean, Olafalo or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Fashanu,
right? Olu Fashanu.
Yeah. So, but for Aaron, I think if they can manage his, the quick game and get him outside the pocket and not make it a 45 to 50 pass a game attempt game, then I think he'll be just fine. But I expect the Steelers defense to play better, and I expect Aaron to get the ball to DK a little bit more. But I was impressed by their game the first game. Whether or not he can maintain it, I don't know.
Well, we'll stick with the Jets then, since we kind of brought them in there. They play the Bills. Any chance against the Bills? The Bills squeaked out a win against the Ravens week 1, 41-40, an exciting game that I was well asleep for. I had to work the next morning. My old ass fell asleep around halftime. I couldn't stay up and watch a fantastic game. But Bills Jets, your thoughts on that one?
That's I was pretty hard on the Jets a couple months ago. I didn't think they'd win more than 3 games. But watching that offensive line play and their ability to run the ball with Justin and Breece Hall and Allen, I think they have a chance every game if they can maintain that. If they force Justin Fields to throw the ball more than 20 times, they got problems. But this is a team that can hurt you with the running game and really own the line of scrimmage. But I think the Bills are just too much. I think the Bills did a lot in the offseason to get their defensive line better. It didn't look that good last week against the Baltimore Ravens, but nobody does against Baltimore. I expect Buffalo to bounce back in a big way, especially on defense. And then Josh, anytime the ball's in his hands, I expect a touchdown. This guy is ridiculous. He's
awesome.
He's the best player I've ever seen at that position.
So Jay, it was Chiefs losing to the Chargers, and now they're playing the Eagles. Do you see any decline in the Chiefs, just out of curiosity?
No, not week 1. Chargers played them tough last year. Chargers are a good football team, and Herbert's, he didn't play good in the playoffs, but he had a great year last year and the second year with Harbaugh and these guys, or third, whatever it is. Great quarterback and great defensive play means you're going to be in a lot of games, and that's what the Chargers have. They have a very good quarterback and an excellent defense, so they're going to be battling for victories in every single week. So, but Kansas City, I think they just got to, they continue doing what they're doing. Kelsey's obviously slowed down a little bit. Pacheco's probably not quite the same either. They need some weapons to step up. I don't know who they're going to be, but they don't have a lot of weapons right now to help out Patrick, and that's hurting them.
Yeah. Another one that Bengals fans will be watching, Browns-Ravens. Obviously, it's another divisional matchup. I expect the Ravens will come out on fire. I mean, can the Browns have that type of defensive performance against Lamar? I feel like every week is different in the NFL. And I think the Ravens losing that game, they're going to come out on fire. Your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I feel like this game should be over by halftime, but it never is for some reason in this rivalry game. Somehow the Browns will keep it close, and the Ravens will struggle offensively, and then they'll figure out something. Derrick Henry will break a long one, or Lamar will scramble out of there and hit a bomb. Something will happen, and the Ravens will probably eke it out. But my initial thought would be Ravens 30-3 at the half, but when I really think about it, the way the Browns can play defense, and if they turn the ball over, get some turnovers from Lamar, then it'll be close. It'll be down to the wire like they usually are in a rivalry game, especially in that division. I was there.
Is there any other games that stand out to you guys that you want Coach's opinion? I know we mentioned the Chargers, Raiders. I thought Geno Smith looked pretty good. Yeah,
he did. He's a good player. It's a good pickup for the Raiders to get him. And they're going to be good. That AFC West is pretty interesting with the Raiders, Chargers, Chiefs, and Broncos. The Broncos are pretty damn good too. If Bo Nix can just play average, they'll be pretty good, and they'll be in it till the end. So very interesting division, very strong defensive division. So I expect tough hitting in that Raider game, and the Raiders defense is not bad as well.
Here's one. Dolphins and Patriots. I mean, the Dolphins, what the hell happened to the Dolphins last week?
I think McDaniel's in trouble. Do you agree, Jay?
I would think so. I don't know. I mean, you don't win with that personnel. If you look at that bad Talk about bad. They were awful. I mean, Tua looked like he'd never played before. They got Tyreek Hill and Waddle. I mean, they got Achane. I mean, how the hell can you go into the fourth quarter with 0? I mean, on turf. These guys are flying. They couldn't do anything. It was bad. So, yeah, I don't know if they're not interested in playing for Coach McDaniel anymore. The defense looks soft. Missed cues, missed tackles, missed assignments. Tua throwing the ball into coverage, overthrowing people. Nobody looked in sync, and there's only so much you can say. Well, it's week 1. We got to get. Well, the Colts are ready. They had Daniel Jones' first time ever playing for the Colts. They look damn good. So, I mean, tired of those excuses. Week 1, they looked atrocious, and they got to get better. Otherwise, he'll be the first one out, I think.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and a guy that's near and dear to both myself and Dale's heart, being Ohio State Buckeye fans, is CJ Stroud. Obviously he struggled last year his sophomore season. It didn't look any better against the Rams, week 1. I don't know how much you've gotten a chance to kind of dig into his tape, but what are you kind of seeing? I know the offensive line hasn't been the strongest in front of him.
Yeah,
but
exactly
it seems
right.
he's
The
having
offensive line's bad. The offensive line was bad last year. It's not very good. And when you can't run the ball and you're forcing third down and known passing situations and you can't protect, that's not good for any quarterback. And that's kind of been the case. Losing Joe Mixon is hurt, but they have enough firepower running back. They got to get the running game going to help them out, get some play action shots on first down, and because run the ball for -2 yards, try a quick game. Now it's 3rd and 12, and they can't protect. So that's been their issue. CJ's a great player. He just got to get a little bit help up front. They got to be able to figure out ways to get some chunk plays to Nico Collins, and I think they will do that. But they got to figure out the offensive line quickly because they have a really good defense, and they're going to be in every game. If they can get the offensive line playing a little bit better, give CJ just a little more time, these Texans are going to be something to deal with. I promise you that.
Yeah, they traded away their best tackle.
That's what I was going to bring up, Dustin, was that exact same thing. Like, as a coach, if, let's say, that wasn't part of your decision, your front office, I don't know if that's the case, but you had a shit offensive line, and then you trade away a stud offensive tackle to Washington. Like, as a fan of that team even, like, what the hell do you think about that?
I don't know what that's all about. That's really a weird deal. He's a good pass blocker. He did have like 20 penalties last year, and he's not a great run blocker. He's a very good, one of the better pass protectors in the game. I don't know what the deal was with that trade, especially blind side of CJ Stroud, which you desperately need. So that's a head scratcher for sure. Maybe that's somebody in the building that they really liked, and I don't understand it.
Speaking of head scratchers, Jay, Micah Parsons, Jerry Jones said, we wanted to keep Micah and all that and stuff. I want your take on Jerry Jones. Like, obviously, Dallas fans are not happy with him right now trading Parsons. If you're the coach of the Cowboys, what are you thinking to yourself? Like, what would you say to Jerry Jones after trading Parsons?
Well, I don't like to side with Jerry Jones because I hate the Cowboys. But this guy might have burnt too many bridges in the building. I mean, you know what I'm saying? With negotiations the way they were with his podcast and things that he said, you don't say that to a billionaire like Jerry Jones. I mean, seriously. And you're not a good enough player to handle your business like that off the field. You can't have a handshake deal and say, never mind. I want this much money. I want to be the highest paid player. Let me go on a podcast and rip the Cowboys or whatever it is. There's only so much you could take. I think Jerry did the right thing. He got rid of him at the right time and got 2 ones for him and a pretty good defensive tackle. So they can package up our number 1 picks now and maybe move up and get a top of the line pass rusher, something next year or the year after. I think it's a good deal for them. I think both of them need to part ways. And I personally, Micah's a good player, but I don't know if he's good enough to deal with all that day in and day out, week in and week out.
Could be a rare win-win in a trade scenario where the player
it doesn't seem like
the Packers over the top.
Micah got a sack last week, and Micah's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's best to change places for everybody involved. Yeah.
For sure. And Broncos Colts trading places. Daniel Jones, is he that guy all of a sudden changing places to the Colts? I know we talked about the Dolphins.
If he could play the Miami defense every week, then yeah, he'll be that guy. But unfortunately, he's playing Denver Bronco defense this week, which is a little bit different. This is a physical bunch. They can run, hit, and cover. So that'll be a challenge for Daniel Jones. But the good thing is they have Jonathan Taylor. They got the other rookie running back that's pretty good. So they have a good running game, a good offensive line. And I love this Tyler Warren guy. He's a quarterback's best friend is have a tight end that you can get the ball out quick too, and he can make people miss and run people over. So yeah, I expect Daniel to have a good year, but not as good a game as he had against the Dolphins that he'll have against Denver. That's for sure.
What's your thoughts on Bo Nix? I'm not the biggest Bo Nix guy in the world. It looked like not a great performance last week. I didn't know if you had any opinions on.
Well, Bo Nix reminds me a lot of Trevor Lawrence. Athletically, Bo Nix is probably a little bit better athlete. Good athletes. They just miss too many throws. They're very consistent with the deeper balls down the field. But Bo's a great competitor. You can see that. He can run. He can do some good things. He just has a lot of inaccuracies with the deep ball and anticipation. That's got to get ironed out. I'm sure Sean will work on that every day for the rest of his career. He's got the right coach to fix a lot of the things, but some of the inaccuracies with a deep ball, that's not easy to fix. A lot of times you either have that poise, anticipation, touch, or you don't. It's hard to coach that, but hopefully Bo will get it done. He's a good kid and a good player and very, very competitive.
Now, Cam Ward, speaking of quarterbacks, any thoughts? I think he's going to be okay, but I don't know if it's this year. And Callahan, our old buddy that was the offensive coordinator here, I hope they give him a chance to have another year with Cam Ward and give Cam that stability. But they're playing Rams this week, and the Rams, I think, are going to be right in that mix for the NFC, in my opinion, this year.
Let's tell you about the Rams. The Rams have a very good, explosive young defense. I mean, this defensive line is relentless, and they were after CJ all game last game, and they're very good. And if Matthew gets going with Puka and Devontae, the Rams are going to be a team to watch out for because they can run the ball with Kyron Williams. But their offensive line is still a little shaky as well. But Cam Ward will be fine, I think. It's going to take some time, rookie quarterback and all that stuff. He's got to get Calvin Ridley involved. They got to get some weapons around him, get the running game going. I'm not sold on Pollard as a running game. The running game's average. When you force a young quarterback to become one-dimensional, it's very, very difficult. But I think Cam has all the tools to be a very, very good quarterback.
49ers, Saints. I mean, we might as well hit them all. There's 4 left. 49ers, Saints. I think Saints are probably jockeying for the number 1 pick this year. But you hate to say that after week 1. The fan base, the coaching staff hates to say that after week 1, right?
No, you're right. I think you can't really tell after week 1 because of injuries and all that stuff. But you look at the Saints, you look at them before the season. That's kind of what you thought. And they lose to Arizona, who's not a very good football team either. So, Spencer Rattler, he's going to struggle against his 49er defense. That's for sure. He's a young kid. He's in over his head a little bit right now. Will he become okay in time? I don't know. I think that eventually they're going to go to the rookie from Louisville, Tyler Shuck. There's not a whole lot to like about the Saints. Their defense is pretty good. They got some things on defense going, but I don't think they have a chance against San Fran.
And we'll stick with that Cardinals team that we don't think they're very good. I know Dustin thinks that could be one of his surprise teams.
I'm high on.
But they play the Panthers, who also had some struggles. Your thoughts on that game and the matchups there?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch a Cardinal game. I just know that Cardinals usually play well in spurts. They'll have a 2 or 3 game winning streak and then lose 5. That's just the way the Cardinals is. That's the way they are. They're just inconsistent crap. I hate the Cardinals. So frustrating. When you see a team that underachieves year in and year out, it's very, very frustrating, and that's what they're going to do. I expect the Panthers to hopefully take the game against the Jaguars personally and come out and play hard. And that's what happens a lot of times between week 1 and week 2. Teams that get their ass beat, they either take it personally, they come out with a chip on their shoulder and they play very well week 2, or they get their ass beat again and they're not very good. So I think Carolina will come out with a chip on their shoulder, play this game tough. I wouldn't be surprised either way who wins this one.
All right, Bears, Lions. I thought Bears was my sneaky team as much as Dustin was Arizona. And, man, it was looking like a good pick at first, and then they blew the hell out of that game. They sucked. But they have good players. They have good defense. They have good offense. I'm hoping Ben Johnson can get things together there for them. But he's going up against his former team with the Lions, who had a bad game against the Packers. Your thoughts on that one?
Lions got a new offensive coordinator. I think that hurt them a little bit. I think Jared Goff bounces back in a big way. They got too many good players at Detroit. I mean, seriously, the 2 running backs are outstanding. They got 2 or 3 receivers. The tight ends are very good. So I expect Jared Goff to bounce back in a big way and take it out on the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams is going to struggle again. His feet are all over the place. Very inaccurate, loose with the football. I don't care who their offensive coordinator is. If you're not very good in the pocket and you can't see guys routes develop, you're going to struggle. So Caleb's got a long way to go. I think Ben is a good hire for them. I think eventually he'll get Caleb in the right place, but he's not going to be there for the first half of the season. I take Detroit in that one in a big one.
Jay, I had a follow-up question on that, if you don't mind. Ben Johnson, I was like, they didn't do a lot of under center stuff, and I know that he did a lot of that with Detroit. Like, where do you see that going with Caleb and
They did a lot. They did a lot under center with Caleb, and that might be the issue because Caleb's really not used to that. He was under center probably at least half the game, I think. So,
was he? Okay.
Trying to do play actions and trying to get the running game going, and that's something Caleb's got to get used to with his footwork. His drops got to match the route. A lot of guys, the routes, these guys running with their backs, and Caleb's already ready to throw it, and timing was just really, really out of sync for Chicago. They got to fix that. If they do that, they'll have a chance.
Do you change your game plan as the offensive coordinator, or do you know what I mean? They
go more shotgun. They got to match up. Like Caleb was quick on his drops, and the receivers weren't ready to come out of their breaks. So that's got to change. They got to slow down a little bit. And then when Caleb steps up, he steps way up in the pocket, and it's hard for him to bite. It just the timing of everything was way out of whack in that game, and Ben's going to fix that. I'm sure he's going to have to. Like Colston Loveland was running a 25-yard curl route. I mean, Caleb patted the ball 6 times, I think, and he's like, "What the hell? Hurry the hell up!"
Yeah,
so
you got to get it out.
Either Colston was too deep, or Caleb was too short, or it was just a horrible play call. One of the three,
or all three.
Do you think that, like what you've seen? Do you think he's fixable? It just feels. I don't know. I have my doubts.
It's hard to fix happy feet, and that's what Caleb has. He has really happy feet. He's always moving around. He's very flinch. He's easy to get off his target, and he flinches a lot. That's hard to fix. The poise in the pocket. When you watch Jaden Daniels play, the poise that he has, he's stand back there like a calm, cool dude and move a foot, or he'll take off and ding, he's gone. Caleb is just kind of like shaky. He's like I don't know, like his feet are on fire. It's just hard to get that out of a player, but it is possible. They got the right guy to do it.
Well, Jay, going to the draft, did you have Jaden Daniels higher than Caleb Williams?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. I like Caleb's arm talent, but all around Jaden, what he did at Arizona State and his improvement rate was unlike anything I've ever seen from Arizona State to LSU. I know LSU, he had Malik Neighbors and Ryan Thomas Jr., but still, this guy had to throw the ball to. He was awesome, and he's the real deal.
Well, it's not like USC recruits bums to play with Caleb Williams either, so that's a fair point, Last game, Falcons-Vikings, 2 quarterbacks in their second season. One didn't play all last year, J.J. McCarthy. He didn't look good early, but he came on. He's a gamer. He's won at every level. And then Penix for the Falcons. Your thoughts on that one?
This is going to be a good game. I think Minnesota's defense is going to keep them in every game. I like Brian Flores, what he does. He didn't really blitz Caleb Williams a lot, but he's got that in his arsenal. We know he can get after Penix. And I think with Penix's inability to run, you're going to see Minnesota coming from everywhere. So it'll be an interesting game. I think Minnesota's defense, like I said, will take over the game. Atlanta, I think they played decent on defense last week against Tampa Bay. They did some good things, but I think overall, Kevin O'Connell will get the right play called at the right time, and Minnesota will eke on by in that one like they did against Chicago.
And then, since it's a Bengals show, we'll get your prediction if you want to give one, or final thoughts on Bengals Jaguars this week.
I like the Bengals big. I really do. I think Joe Burrow will take this game, even though they won the game. I think he's going to take it personally. He says -2 yards in the second half. This can't happen. He's going to get on the team, get on the defense, and or get on the offensive line, get on the receivers, get on himself, and he's going to come out and they're going to come out in a flurry. I think they're going to put up a big number against the Jaguars to get the victory.
All right, Coach, promote all your stuff. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry it went so long today, but man, when football's back, I'm excited and getting that. Dude, that was the best show we've ever done in 4 years of doing this show. Just hearing you talk ball and giving your thoughts on all the teams around the league was incredible.
It.
Awesome.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you guys for having me, and anytime.
Thank you.
Anything? Check you out.
They can find it. Just Google it.
Why you don't? That's my move, Coach.
Well, don't Google me too hard because there's some things on there you don't want to look up.
No.
But I'm on Twitter. I'm on X, and right now I'm in between shows doing some things with Underdog. So
okay.
That'll probably take place in the next 3 or 4 weeks. It'll be pretty big. So you'll find me.
All right. We'll find you, Coach. Thank you for your time, sir.
All right. Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Awesome.
What a show, man.
Wow.
Almost an hour with Coach Jay Gruden.
So gracious with his time.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, once we start on these games, I'm like, we'll get it. And then I'm just checking them off the list of the schedule for the week. And I'm like, This is amazing content right now. Just this guy is an encyclopedia of knowledge, and
Wow.
man, that was awesome. Couldn't be more thankful.
I think we knew this, but just like a human element, just the grind coaches got to put together. And you see coaching like lifers, like a Vic Fangio that's still going. It's just, man, those guys are psychopaths in a way. You know what I mean? Like 18-hour days, some sleeping on their couches, but I mean, it is what it is.
Well, to hear him talk about the shifts on this team, the shifts on that team, it's like you hear all this stuff going around your head. You don't, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I just don't think about any of that stuff. I'm like, it's just like you were talking about, Dustin. I mean, the coaching is just nonstop. You have to think of every little thing that goes on in the field that you never think of.
Yeah. I think it was interesting. I don't know. Did you guys have any like from it's Wednesday now? Any other thoughts after Sunday's game in terms of just kind of what availed from that? You know,
I mean, I kind of mentioned Dalton Reisner to coach there. I thought he looked good, like in the second, because I was wondering about his grade, and I thought he looked good as a run blocker, everything. But man, that one play, Mason Graham, and Dustin, I blame you for that partially, but I don't because it was after the fact. But you're like, yeah, Mason Graham didn't do that much. No, he's the one who almost single-handedly got that safety on Burrow because he wrecked Dalton Reisner and Ted Karras. He wrecked both of them on that play.
That was vintage Michigan.
I got PTSD from that.
You saw his explosiveness on that play for sure. I'm so glad we're done with Cleveland. I just hate playing them, you know, for multiple reasons. But
defense overall, I was gonna say defense overall. I clipped up Logan Wilson, Demetrius Knight, Logan going out, and we said it on the show. There was a huge difference. But watching it back, very noticeable. And honestly, man, kudos for him being able to come back. Hopefully he's good this week injury-wise. Have we seen anything on that, Dustin? And then I didn't mean to cut you off, so continue.
No, I haven't seen anything yet. I did see Mims was limited today with an ankle. So I think probably not something super to worry about, but, you know, kind of like these nicks and bruises are just, you know, how they go throughout the football season. I think certain players, if they are showing any type of like nicks or bruises, you kind of just hold them out, you know. So,
well, a week ago, Myles Garrett, right? Myles Garrett might not play because he missed practice with a hip last Thursday or whatever it was.
Right.
And then he was awesome as always.
No, Dustin. Because I think I talked about. I did not buy that at all. How often do we see players or Pat Mahomes? Oh my God, he's limping and all that. We like a lot of people didn't think he was. I think they do that. Well, I know that injury reports always happen, but I think at times they do that just to make you think that you don't have to plan for that.
I don't know if it's for that, but there's like veteran rest days, which they mark those on the injury report. But also, if a guy is slightly dinged up and you were thinking about giving them a veteran rest day, you're just going to put it as, oh, they might have an injury. Why not? It's head games, right?
Yeah. And I think there is more emphasis on like reporting injuries due to betting. So they have to be super transparent with their injury reports, I believe. I think there was a little bit of a crackdown on that over the last couple of years, maybe some push from Vegas to make sure, like, you know, report injuries were being reported. I don't know. So, but yeah. I mean, I do think I look forward to the game on Sunday. I think there's an opportunity for us to just like Burrow being pissed off. All of our weapons is to attack. I feel like there's a really advantage. We could take advantage of their secondary for sure.
Yeah, we're going to dive deep into the game on tomorrow's show.
Right.
Or Friday's show. God, I wish tomorrow was Friday. Damn, I got 2 more days till Friday. Fuck, I told you it was a long week. It's only Wednesday. I was thinking tomorrow is Friday. But at least we have football tomorrow with Commanders Packers.
Yeah, but they're like going back to what you said, like Jay, I mean, that was just so cool. Like every single game we got to hear every little thing. That was just so awesome and all that and stuff. But yeah, like I say, Dale, you've been getting me to watch more college football, man, with the draft and all that and stuff. I mean, I know, like we're about the draft yet, but still cool to see players to keep an eye on. And that's got me watch way more college football. It's like, I know that guy because of Dale.
This is the time to talk a little college ball too, if we want, because Friday we're gonna hammer the
Yeah.
Bengals Jaguars matchup. So,
Yeah, look, I can talk
is there
about
any
that.
big college matchups? I know I wrote an article today. It probably won't come out till closer to the weekend. But if you've been checking out my prospects to watch series on Cincy Jungle, I wrote a very lengthy article today that will be set to come out later in the week. I got to remember the game. That's pretty bad that I don't remember the game. There's a few good games, top 20 teams. Who's the top 20 matchup I'm thinking of, Dustin?
Yeah, I think
Notre Dame. It's Notre
Yeah.
Dame and Texas A&M. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I think there's some definitely players to watch on Texas A&M for sure.
Cassius Howe, baby. I love me some Cassius Howe.
Yeah, me too. And then I'm always interested in the quarterback and Texas A&M. He came in highly recruited. I forget it from like his name.
Marcel Reed.
Marcel Reed. Yeah, he's played pretty well the first couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see going into South Bend what he puts up. And then from the Notre Dame side of things, if they can get their run game going. Obviously, we love Jeremiah Love. So it's like you'd like to see a little bit more of him and his involvement. So we'll kind of see how that goes. And I think Georgia and Tennessee is the other big game as well.
Well, I want to stick with that one for a minute with the Notre Dame. Just a little preview of the article. The defensive side, because we know Al Golden that we have is, that's kind of how I started the article, talking about some of the defense. I actually started with Texas A&M, Cassius Howe, of course. I had to, man. I love that guy. But the Notre Dame defense, I don't know if Christian Gray will come out. He's a junior. Adon Schuler, the safety, is only a redshirt sophomore. But it made me think back also to Xavier Watts, who had a phenomenal debut for the Falcons. And but here's the thing. How can I bitch when Shamar Stewart had an impact on that win, Demetrius Knight had an impact on that win, and Dylan Fairchild had an impact on that win? That was our first 3 picks. So honestly, it's like I can't bitch about Xavier Watts as a Bengals fan, but I think they'll be interested in Schuler. I think Christian Gray and obviously Leonard Moore probably won't be in the position to draft him. He's only a true sophomore. He's not in the article. But some good prospects for that Notre Dame. Drake Bowen at linebacker is a very interesting guy.
I think that's going to be a fun matchup with that game is because I like Texas A&M's receivers. So that's going to be fun to watch. I think they're going to get a lot of one-on-one opportunities and, see how these Notre Dame corners that obviously have a lot of skill and potential. Against Miami, I don't know if they weren't stellar in that game. So we'll see. That's something I'm keeping my eyes on in that game.
But sure. There's a couple other matchups I know.
What was that?
I said there was a couple other matchups that you were going to.
Oh, yeah, the Georgia-Tennessee game. Are you talking specifically about this game?
No. Moving on. I said there was a couple other games. I shouldn't have said matchups. Games. Yeah,
the Georgia-Tennessee game is going to be interesting because obviously Joey Aguilar has played really well, and I don't think we expected probably a lot from Tennessee. I think they've had a couple good early wins, and I forget that you could fill me in on the defensive end that they got there, but they got some.
It's like Joshua Josephs or whatever. He is in the draft guide. He is a thinner guy, but he's taking that Pierce role this year, which is exactly what I put in the draft guide over the summer. He's moving to that role that James Pierce had, and they're expecting him to play at that same level as him.
Yeah.
And Chris Brazell is the wide receiver for them. I like big, tall guy out of. He didn't have a great season last year, but is Nico very good? Honestly, you got to ask that question at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's not looked good at all for UCLA. That's for sure. Like people are calling him a scam artist. And there's a corner on Tennessee I got my eyes on. His name's slipping my mind right now. He was actually one of PFF's highest rated corners of the weekend. And then on the Georgia side, I'll
have to check him out because I know Jermon McCoy is not back, right? He's still out with the injury. Because if he comes back, man, that's a potential top 10 pick, Jermon McCoy.
And then, on the offensive tackle, they got Jesse Perry on Tennessee too. Like he's a really good player. He's like really interesting to watch. But then I haven't really honestly studied Georgia specifically. I know, Cutter Stockton, so it's kind of like a battle of like a quarterback game almost. Like it'll be interesting to see under Stockton. I don't know enough about Georgia's roster outside of that. from
It's
like
more
a player.
It's more defense for me than it is their offense. Like C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson, the linebackers. They always have good players, on the line, but they got some young guys on the line. But the defense is definitely like the linebackers will be huge for them. Dalen Everett, the cornerback. So I'll be more looking at like Georgia's secondary and linebackers than anything.
Yeah. Keeping it local, Greg, you got any thoughts on what you saw from UC so far? I mean, the second half with Bowling Green was kind of interesting.
I don't watch UC. I mainly like just to give Dale crud and all that with you.
No, you're in Ohio State. He's an Ohio State fan now.
No, I'll tell you what. I've been watching a lot of Ohio State football. I'll especially be watching next year when they get Chris Henry Jr. Look, I've been silently watching. I still love my Bearcats, don't get me wrong, but I know UC was without the God. Isn't the Godfather not playing Saturday? I heard he's week by week now. What?
That sucks.
Corleone.
He played really good in the first week. I don't know about last week. Like, I watched him in the first week. I didn't watch their game last week, just being honest. Yet. I'll get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, the injury stuff with him is always, I don't know. That's a tough one. And then I think the other game to kind of keep your eyes on is South Florida versus Miami.
Yes.
That's going to be exciting to watch. I mean, South Florida.
Byron Brown, baby. Byron Brown. They got some good corners, too. They got some good secondary players.
Yeah, we were talking about that guy making plays the first game against Boise, but their defense flies around. And then Miami's offensive line. I mean, Dale, would you think it's maybe the best offensive line in college football?
It's very good. Enes Cooper at right guard, Malinoa at right tackle. It's very good. And they've done really well at developing offensive linemen, evidenced by us having two of them. One of them only played a year there in Matt Lee, but the other one, Jalen Rivers, played a long time at Miami, Florida. So I'm going to keep my eyes on that offensive line because we might take another one. It's kind of like Georgia. You got, when the Bengals get a pattern or Michigan secondary guys, you got to at least be wary of it.
Wait, who does Ohio State play this Saturday? I forget.
Ohio. They play Parker Navarro. The Ohio quarterback is a dog, dude. So, like.
Go Bobcats, Dale. You know why I'm doing this.
Yeah. I don't think the game will be close, but Parker Navarro, I watched a lot of their action the first couple weeks, and I'm like, me and Dustin would talk about it like, this guy's a gamer. I think I love this Parker Navarro.
The last great player from Ohio, I remember, who was that safety that got picked heavily high by, who was it, the Steelers or somebody that took him? Who was that safety? He was a first-round pick. I think you
drawn blank, brother.
Okay, I don't know if you remembered him or not. He
also got sorry.
No, go ahead. I don't care.
Drafted by who?
The Bears, I think. Here, I'll look him up.
All right.
Ohio is a really solid just MAC football school. They're a lot of fun to watch. I mean, Parker Navarro just makes plays all over the place. He's so fun. Yeah.
Wisconsin, Alabama. So, I know Alabama's ranked 19th. Wisconsin's unranked. Wisconsin's 2-0. Alabama's 1-1. But if there was a year for Luke Fickell to maybe make Wisconsin back in relevancy and keep his job, because I know a lot of people thought he'd be fired last year, he probably needs to beat Alabama, to be fair. But I expect Alabama to be pissed off and fired up and trying to get a win. In a game like that, they can't go 1-2, can they, Dustin?
I mean, I don't think so. I'm so out on Wisconsin's football program. I'm thinking they're starting to turn into like what I call like a museum program, meaning like they were good in the past and now they're a museum. I was really surprised Luke Fickell took that job, to be honest. They went from Phil Longo's offense, who now is the head coach at Sam Houston. They're absolutely atrocious, but trying to spread it around and spray it around. Now they're trying to revert back to more of a running game. They toss the ball around. So they're having troubles finding identity. Alabama, it's just, I don't, with Kalen DeBoer, is he a fit? Is he a fit for the culture? He's a West Coast dude, more laid back. That probably doesn't mesh well with the South. Ty Simpson did bounce back last week. He didn't even have an incompleted pass. I think he was like 18 of 18. So him and Julian Sain definitely taking advantage of the competition they went against. Caden Proctor graded pretty well. That's the guy that keep your eye on. He had an absolutely atrocious first game, and he's, obviously he's supposed to be
his whole season last year was like that. Like there is highs and lows, peaks and valleys.
It was second round. He got taken by theirs. Mike Mitchell. Remember, he played for the Steelers also.
Yeah, Mike Mitchell. I kind of didn't even remember he was from Ohio, Greg. But
he grew up here around Cincinnati. I think Fort Thomas, Kentucky. He grew up in. He was like a late bloomer. He was supposed to be like a 6th-round pick, and the Bears took him in the 2nd round. It was very similar to that one year. Who was that guy for the Seahawks that out of West Virginia? I brought him up one time to you, and I forgot again. He was a defensive end. He barely played football, but he was so talented.
I know. Will Clark.
No.
Oh, I just heard defensive end from West Virginia, so I said Will Clark.
Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Yeah, the Seahawks.
I thought you were talking about the Bengals.
No, Seahawks. Will Clark. Don't get me started with Will Clark, but he was a first-round pick for the 2012 NFL Draft, first round. You guys keep talking.
Vandy plays South Carolina.
I was going to say that's my sneaky fun game. Diago Pavia and Lenore Sellers.
Yeah, and Pavia has Eli Stowers throwing the ball at tight end. They upset Bama last year. Could they upset South Carolina? That's a possibility. Florida looked really bad last week playing LSU. Obviously, Chop loves LSU, but does Florida bounce back in this game and give a tough test to LSU? Maybe.
Really clunky.
Maybe they do. And then I want to mention at least one more game as games of interest or whatever here. And that would be Clemson, Georgia Tech. Because Clemson didn't look good last week. So it's like Georgia Tech's 2-0. Their quarterback's been around forever. I don't know if they got the horses, but they got a running back, Jamal Haynes, that I really like at Georgia Tech. Could they beat Clemson? I doubt it, but I'm not ruling it out. Like
Bruce Irvin, that was
Bruce Irvin, yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was like a 4th or 5th round pick, and he actually did well with the Seahawks, I think.
Yeah, he was decent.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, and Christopher Higdon had it here with Irvin.
Yes,
Bruce
you're
Irvin.
right, Chris.
Yeah, South Carolina.
All right, fellas. Yeah, go ahead. Talk about that one, then we'll end it on that. And it's always 2 day on Friday.
If you guys just want a pleasure to watch of a player, Dylan Stewart. I mean, I think we all know his name, but the defense end. He was Ohio State was recruiting him hard, lost to South Carolina. I don't know what went into that, but that dude's a stud. Little undersized still, only 245, but maybe he begins to put a weight on. But yeah, he's fun, man.
South Carolina, maybe I should root for South Carolina to suck this year, and he wants to transfer.
Yeah.
Because every time I'm playing the college football game, he's in the portal, and I got him a couple times, and I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. He's like even as a freshman, just some of his pass rush moves he already has. So he's going to be one of those prospects that's definitely like probably top 5 pick. I mean, hell, he could probably enter a draft now and be like that high.
Yeah. And Sellers has a lot of work to do, but if Sellers, he's only redshirt sophomore, right, or whatever. But if he enters the draft after this year, because he is draft eligible, I think someone takes that. They roll that dice, and give it a shot in the top 5. Like Lenore Sellers is so fun. All the talent in the world, and he's like 6'3", 240. So 6'3", 243 or something to be exact. But I mean, he is just a fun prospect, but he's got a lot of work to do with his passing mechanics. So that's going to be something to see how he performs the rest of this year. But yeah, it's college football. Bengals, we will strictly hammer the Bengals on Friday. What a fun show, man. Jay Gruden was awesome. Pop-up show messaged us today and said, hey, I can do today at 3:30. We said, fuck it. Let's get it together, boys. So
they were sliding in those DMs.
From months ago, to be fair, he DM'd me back from me sliding in his DMs like 2 months ago and said, and I delete all my shit all the time. So, like, I didn't know what he was responding to necessarily, but I was like, I'm assuming I asked him on the show. So Greg has his phone number because, that's what Greg does. Greg slides into people's text messages.
Ooh.
And he's like, hey, do you want to come on? So But I'm pretty sure that's what he was responding to.
That's
always a pleasure having him on.
And he was on, so I guess it worked out.
Yeah, Are you more impressed with somebody that responds quicker or somebody that randomly responds after 3 months? I actually think it's like
After 3, I'm pretty impressed. Like to respond 3 months later and be like, I'm in.
Well, I reached out to one Bengal one time, and like 6 months later, he's like, "Yeah, I'd love to come on." I'm like, "Who are you again?" Oh, back in 6 months ago, I reached out. I forget who the player was too.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's like, how were you just randomly going through all your messages and like, oh shoot,
Yeah.
So good
Man,
stuff.
but
Guys.
awesome stuff, man. It was awesome. Can't thank Jay Gruden enough. Man, he was incredible today. And we will be back on Friday. It probably won't be near the quality of show because we don't have Jay Gruden on, but we'll do our best best we can to talk Bengals versus Jaguars. And can the Bengals go 2-0 for the first time in Zach Taylor's career as the head coach?
Yeah, let's get it, man. Let's get it.
We'll talk about all